860 years ago, in the year 1165, the Rambam visited the land of Israel. In a letter describing his visit, Maimonides writes that there were 2 days on his visit that were of such significance that he took them on for himself, that they would be a personal Yom Tov for him. One was the day where he arrived in Yerushalayim, and he davened, seemingly in fact, on Har HaBayis. And the second day was the day that he arrived at Ma'arat HaMachpelah in Hebron, and he says that he kissed the graves of his forefathers, seemingly meaning metaphorical, and he prayed at Ma'arat HaMachpelah, and that day was of such significance that for him, that day that he arrived, the 9th of Cheshvan, would always be a Yom Tov for him moving forward. What makes the story even more fascinating is that if we look in the halachic works of the Rambam, in Hilchos Ovel, the Rambam writes, in fact, discouraging people from visiting Kivrei Tzadikim, which is a source of much discussion throughout the generations about is it proper and when is it proper to visit graves, to visit the graves of Tzadikim. And the Rambam writes in Perek Dalet Halacha Dalet that he discourages visiting Kivrei Tzadikim, but despite that, even the Rambam seemingly made an exception and said that to go to Ma'arat HaMachpelah, that is something of such significance that both he did it himself and he even celebrated that day as a Yom Tov. So as we mark this Shabbos Parashat Chayei, where we read about Avraham buying the portion of Ma'arat HaMachpelah, it's worth reflecting, what is it about Ma'arat HaMachpelah that makes it such a significant place that we should aspire to pray there. I saw a fascinating answer from Rabbi Yechezkel Yaakovson, the former Rosh Yeshiva of Yeshivat Shalavim, who points out that another place where Hebron is mentioned in the Torah is in the story of the Meraglim, where the Meraglim come into the land of Israel, and it says that in the singular, he came to Hebron, and Chazal say that Kalev ben Yefuneh came to Hebron to daven at the graves of his forefathers as part of the story of what's going on with Kalev and Yeshua, going a different route than the other 10 spies. And Rabbi Yaakovson asks, what is the significance of this? Why is it, or what is going on when Kalev prays at Hebron? And he says the following. He says, the 2 spies, Yeshua and Kalev, are trying to hold on to what they believe dearly, despite the influences of the other 10 spies telling them to say bad about Eretz Yisrael. Yeshua has the inspiration or the anchor of the fact that he is Moshe Rabbeinu's main student. Moshe Rabbeinu has given him a specific bracha and changed his name, etc., before going on this mission. And he has that to anchor him to be able to withstand the pressures from the other spies. But Kalev doesn't have that same background. It doesn't have that same bracha that he's been given from Moshe Rabbeinu. So where does he turn to? He turns to the Avos. He turns to Ma'arat HaMachpelah to give him that strength of character and fortitude to be able to withstand the pressures coming from the spies. And maybe based on this, we can say that what Ma'arat HaMachpelah represents is that, or what the 2 spies represent, is Yeshua had this source of personal inspiration from his own personal experience and teachers that was able to anchor him in his values. And Kalev maybe didn't have that same experience, but was always able to tap into the fact that ultimately we're all children of Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and we can all find that individual connection to Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and no better place to do that than Ma'arat HaMachpelah. And so I think there's actually something very powerful in general in our religious life, that we can both tap into the inspiration we have from our own experiences and teachers, but all of us have access to be able to tap into the inspiration from the Avot, and hopefully we should all be able to do so visiting Ma'arat HaMachpelah and to be inspired in our values from the Avot. Shabbat Shalom.